Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast with your host, Lorna Poole, sharing the secrets to creating wealth, investing, and that all-important money mindset. To find out more and accelerate your journey to financial freedom, head on over to www.lornapoole.com to get started. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast. You know, a lot of people, they want to create this financially free life, but then sometimes in the midst of creating that, they forget to live their life. And that's what my guest is about today. How to painlessly transform your finances without feeling deprived or denying yourself the little luxuries in life. Jennifer Noel Taylor graduated with a Bachelor of Science Degree in computers and started her first job as a software engineer at a big company. Like many others, she felt incredibly trapped, depressed at a job that paid the bills, but wasn't who she really wanted to be. So Jennifer knew that she had a purpose, but she was not living it. To cope with the social isolation and depression she felt at work, she studied bodywork and alternative healing. She became fascinated by energy healing and studied various energy healing methods, including Reiki. She met Richard Gordon, the founder of Quantum Touch, at his lectures and fell in love with the vision of quantum touch and received her clear message from the universe that this is her calling. And she's going to talk to you about all that. Shortly after training in quantum touch, she quit her job, took a leap of faith, and finally followed her heart. She took over as CEO of Quantum Touch in June 2002, and as CEO, she's continued to promote wellness by helping people connect more deeply with love. Jennifer, great to have you here.
Great. Well, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's a big, people just don't realize that the cost it costs them when they're in something that's not for them.
I would agree. So let me give you one example. So let's look at health. A lot of people sacrifice their well-being to try to make money. And then they find that because they sacrifice their health, now they have to spend a lot of money trying to regain their health. So did that actually work out, right?
Yeah, isn't it crazy? I think Delamy said that or something, that you're sitting at computers, you're not doing exercise, you're just money, and then you make this money, and then your health's gone, and the money's going on getting yourself back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So looking at what is true abundance, and what do we sacrifice to achieve a higher bank account? But I believe true abundance is more holistic. So it involves health. It involves doing things that you love. It also involves money. So it involves an integration of all these different aspects of our being. So that's why this topic really excites me, because it's gone way beyond money in my head.
So if somebody's creating their financial freedom, okay, they want their money to work hard for them. They want to invest, but they also want to live a life where they can be who they are. How do they go about it?
Oh, that's a great question. So the first thing to do is take an honest assessment of where you're at. And so I'm in the United States, and 75% of people in the United States are in debt, and they have no savings, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. And when I first started to turn my finances around, it started out with a very honest assessment of what's actually going on. Because I think I used to live in a lot of denial, thinking that someday my finances would magically turn around on their own and I wouldn't need to do anything. And when I finally got out of that denial is when I started to turn things around. So the first step is just honesty, self-honesty, where you're at. The other thing that I was doing was I was feeling a lot like a victim. I felt like my finances were a circumstance that were completely out of my control. And I felt disempowered. I was blaming our economy, our president, God, my business partner, my employees. I was in this blame game. And that energy, the energy of blame or martyrhood, is the antithesis of the energy of abundance. So I had to kind of have this internal like self-realization, I guess I would call it a come to Jesus moment, and realize, wow, I feel like a victim and I have $135,000 of debt. This is not a good situation. So that was the first step, is honest assessment with who we are at, and also recognizing that we actually did create our financial problems.
Yeah. Taking ownership.
Mm-hmm. That was a big deal for me. Now, once I took ownership, then I set myself on a whole different trajectory. And I feel like I know so many people that are they're stuck in this victim thing, and there's no way they'll ever make any changes, because really money to me is an energy. And if we can tap into the energy of abundance, everything that we touch will become abundant. So it's really shifting our relationship. Yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's really what I want to get to.
Say something there. When I hit a low point in my life and I worked through it. And I remember working with a lady and she said to me, like, I was really in a bad place. And she said to me, you're quite happy there. And I really didn't know at the time, before she had said that, what that meant. And, people who don't shift are sort of comfortable with what they really don't want because it's familiar to them and all that. And this was a big epiphany for me to change my life.
Yeah, that's huge. I think a lot of people get comfortable in the victim stance. I know it's easy to blame others or blame circumstances or even blame the universe rather than owning responsibility, because owning responsibility means now you got to look at it. And for me, it was really comfortable to be a martyr for my cause and to be a victim, because I could just continue that trajectory without having to do any work on myself. And to me, when I started doing work on myself, that's when it got hard. And so I totally hear you. I think you make a really good point there.
Energy of abundance, what does that mean? Because we hear it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, the energy of abundance, so I believe it piggybacks on this theory that's loosely supported by quantum physics, that the reality is a reflection of our energy, of the energy and essence of who we are. So it works on, the law of attraction, which postulates that the reality is a reflection of who we are. And so when we talk about the energy of abundance, to me, that means coming into energetic alignment with abundance. And so for a lot of people, if you're in debt and you're feeling like a victim and you're feeling depressed, you're putting out a certain energy into the world. And the universe is saying, okay, well, depression and scarcity and victim, the universe will reflect back to you that energy that you're projecting and ultimately your beliefs. And so when I feel the energy of abundance, it means that my energy is in alignment with attracting money and abundance on multiple levels, including health and relationship and things like that. So I think that's what, when people talk about the energy of abundance, I think that's what they mean.
Yeah, but people get stuck in so maybe they're aware that their beliefs and all are not supporting where they want to be in the universe and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they know they should be thinking abundant, but they get kind of stuck in that sort of poverty mindset that, opposite to abundance. And where people struggle is how to get to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you suggest they should do?
The first thing that I would suggest, if I know it's really easy when you're drowning in debt and maybe you hate your job and things like that, to really get depressed by all of that. And then that depression just attracts more and more things to be depressed about typically. And so really the first step I believe that can help people get out of this is taking back their own power. So actually realizing that everything that they do in their life, everything that happens is their creation. And that's a really high level of ownership. But I think it's once you really get that, you start taking back your power, and then that depression starts to fall away. The other thing that's also really helpful, and I know this can be really hard, but bear with me here, is finding something, no matter how small, to be grateful for every day. Whether it's taking a moment to, I have this amazing view where I live, so I look out and look at the creek and the gardens, and I say, wow, that bird is just phenomenal. I mean, it's really small, but I just stepped into gratitude. And when you're coming from this space of gratitude, you attract more things to be grateful for. So, and I know it's really hard when life sucks, but if you can just take a little respite from your depression and just find just one little thing, whether it's a nice piece of chocolate or petting the kitten or your view, or just take a few minutes every day. And I feel like that can really help shift your energy.
My parents used to say how ungrateful we were. So I had to take the energy out of gratefulness, and use a word of, I'm happy that, or, this is good in my life or whatever. But whenever I hear the word grateful, it always reminds me of my parents saying, you're so ungrateful. All the things we do for you, you're so ungrateful. And when I exchange the word with, I'm happy, oh, this is amazing in my life and I'm happy with this or whatever, I got comfortable with the word grateful. But I can totally relate to when you're feeling down and you're in debt and your job, people don't realize that if you just take the first step, you'll be surprised how things will snowball for you.
I agree. Because when you decide to take ownership and when you decide to spend some time being grateful, the universe supports that. So once you say, okay, I get it. I'm going to own my finances. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to take a different course. I realize that I'm responsible for every dollar I spend and every dollar I make. I'm just going to make the shifts. The universe is going to say, yay for you. That's awesome. We're going to support your new energy by shifting things. So it's really amazing how that works, because we're working in a universe that's all energy. So when we shift our energy, the energy of the universe starts to shift, because we are one with the universe. So I think that's kind of a leap of faith for a lot of people to really understand the energy of everything. But once you start seeing that at work, it's really amazing.
So start with understanding that you're the creator of where you are today and taking back your power. Be grateful. And then what? Okay,
so after that, there's a few things that you look at. So the one thing is, how much money are you making on a very practical level? And then how much money are you spending? And really, financial alignment to me, or coming into alignment with financial abundance, it's really about, can you balance these two aspects of your life, spending and earning? And on one level, it's really simple. Just spend, less than you earn. And then you have to go into, this is what I had to do. I had to go into, why am I spending more than I earn? Either I'm not making enough or I'm overspending. Either one doesn't work. It upsets that balance. And so really, and I'll give you an example where I started. I looked first at my spending, because I was earning a nice amount of money. So really for me, it was like I was just spending more than I earned. And I looked at that and I said, well, why am I doing that? I mean, other people could live perfectly comfortably at a profit at what I make. So what am I doing? And I had to look at, what was around my space. Where was I spending money? And I came to the realization that I was spending a lot of money out of habit rather than being conscious of what I truly needed or wanted. And one of my favorite books on financial independence called Your Money or Your Life has this term gazingas pen they coined it to describe that thing that we spend money on out of habit, the thing we don't even need, the thing that we may have multiple copies of. And it's that thing that they recommend in their book to really look at, what is your gazingas pen or pens, and why is that set up that way? And usually, in my case, for example, my gazingas pen was clothes. I just had tons of clothes that I never wore. And I had to look at that. It's like, why am I spending all this money on clothes that I don't use? And I realized that it was really my desire to win the approval of others. And I had to deconstruct my whole consciousness by just looking at my spending habits, just adding a level of consciousness to my spending. And that's just one example, and it may not apply to everyone. But I know some people, or I have one friend who spends a lot of money on electronics, like a new microphone, new cameras, and they don't use it. And, the question is why? So that's one area to look at, and that's where I started.
You said two very big, powerful things there. One was habit, and the second was looking for approval of others. Because in my experience with coaching and working with people is when you scrape everything back, no matter what's happened in their life, it comes back to how they see themselves, self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and that's the other component. And I believe the self-worth is related to income.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's the other side of the coin. If you really have cut back your living to a state of, you only spend stuff on things that you love, then it comes down to, okay, why aren't you bringing in money? And this is just a huge topic, but I feel like it boils down to, as you said, feelings of worthiness.
And, you're talking about healing energy, right? Are you talking about people healing their relationship with money, healing their relationship with others, and shifting into an energy? You're talking about getting abundant energy. How do we get to that relaxed place that we are abundant with our money?
So one of my favorite healers said something once, and I'm forgetting the name right now. It said, the essence of healing is applying love to areas that hurt.
I like that. Yes.
And yeah, and so in the situation with money, it's the same to me as healing issues with your health. It's applying love to your income and applying love to your expenses, and it's that level of awareness that will help you shift, because the first step is awareness. So for example, if I'm feeling depressed and I'm surfing Amazon and I'm getting ready to purchase something because I'm depressed and want to feel better, instead of hitting the buy button, taking that moment and saying, all right, what's my reason for buying this? Is it something, do I really love what I'm going to buy right now? Or am I trying to buy something for some other purpose? So it's taking that step into awareness and recognizing if I'm buying something for some other purpose, like for example, I want the approval of a man, new pair of clothing or whatever. I look at, okay, so let me sit here and send it some love. I'm feeling unattractive, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling, discouraged, and I'm trying to soothe my emotions by buying something. So instead of buying something, let me just sit for a moment and send that negative emotion love and see what happens. And typically when I do that, the desire to do that emotional spending gets absorbed, because love can heal that negative emotion. We don't, the buying something doesn't heal that negative emotion. It just makes things worse typically. So that's one example of using love. It's basically healing yourself. And that's what creates abundance. The more whole we are, the more whole our finances are, the more whole our body is. So it's really about self-healing.
I love that. I've had a epiphany quite recently, and you're bringing it back to me as you talk. I was always hard on myself. And, just as you speak there, I was thinking, I'm hard on my money.
Right.
Because we treat it the same way as we treat ourselves a little bit. And I have to catch myself at that, because I'm always like, oh, well, I need to do that next thing with my website, or I need to do that. And then I'm back to where I don't want to be. And I'm doing that. I'm creating that because I'm hard on myself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a great perspective, a great way to look at it. I mean, we tend to be hard on ourselves. We've grew up, I was bullied as a child. Sometimes people criticize me. I run a business and I'm subject a lot to criticism. And sometimes we take that to heart, sadly, and say, wow, that person just called me chubby. Maybe I am chubby.
Mm-hmm.
And these get into our consciousness. And then if I feel chubby or have a self-deprecating moment, I may think, oh, okay, well, I'm feeling sad. I'm going to make myself feel better through, outside means. But really what I need to come to terms with is, first of all, the whole chubby thing. That was common. I was called chubby a lot. And I have to look at the idea of like, am I really chubby? Is that really true? And so I thought about this, and I'm like, well, okay, if I wanted to be a supermodel, then yeah, I'm too fat to be a supermodel. My doctor would say my weight's well within the normal range. And then, in a different period of time, I would be considered too skinny. So is that really true? No, it's not. It's not true. It's not true that I'm, a lot of our judgments about ourselves aren't true. They're just ideas. They're just suggestions. They're just bad suggestions, but they're not, truth is all relative. And I think that's one good way to really reframe our own negative judgments.
I love that. And sending love. Yeah. Because I love that. Jennifer, we've had an amazing conversation. I myself have got a lot from this. You said a lot about having an honest assessment, understanding that we're creating where we are today, letting go of the victim energy, moving ourselves into the energy of abundance. And a great way to do this is by being grateful, looking at our habits. And I love what you shared at the end about sending love, like just pausing for a moment and saying, why am I buying this? What's going on here behind why I'm doing what I'm doing? And identifying it and then sending it love, and how that releases the energy for you, right?
Mm-hmm. In my own healing process, which I go into in my book a lot of the magic of sending something love is amazing, because I've had a lot of negative emotions in my life. Like most people, I've been angry, I've been upset, I felt like I've been treated, unfairly. And the victim consciousness is tied into anger. Like we feel like victims, and hence we're angry. And so really, love has an amazing ability to dissipate anger. If we look and connect with our anger and realize, wow, I'm really angry, and then we send that love, love can dissolve anger like an ice cube dissolving in water. It's really amazing, the power of love to dissolve negativity. It blows me away. It's so powerful, and to me it's such an easy tool to use.
I love that. So we've, what's the aha from today? What's that kind of one thing? Someone's listening to this, they're really identifying with what you're sharing, and they really want to get to that space of love and abundance. What would you say to them?
I would say that just, when they're feeling negativity, when they're feeling depressed, when they're feeling like a victim, when they're feeling sad, when they're having trouble getting into their great gratitude, just allow them to pause for a moment and just send that love. It's really powerful, and it's something that, we've been talking about, and just really use that. And that's what I would leave the listeners with, using the power of your love.
Love that. So Jennifer, how do we find out more about you?
So right now I have a website for my book, my upcoming book. It's called spiritualandbroke.com. And on my website, I'm giving away a free gift. When you sign up for my mailing list, you'll get the first 3 chapters of my book for free. And my blog, I have also a lot of like free content and a lot of some of my ideas about all different types of topics. So anyways, that's spiritualandbroke.com.
The website is spiritualandbroke.com. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And just to let everybody know, if you've enjoyed this today and want to continue the conversation, head on over to Financial Freedom Podcast with me, Lorna Poole. This is a safe haven of like-minded wealth creator go-getters who are also on a journey to creating financial freedom. Thank you, Jennifer. This has been amazing.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate being on your show. Thank you.
Hey everyone, remember to join us in the Private Financial Freedom Podcast Facebook group with me, your host, Lorna Poole. This is a safe haven of like-minded wealth-getting go-getters who, like you, are on their journey to creating financial freedom in their life. This is where you and I can get intimate. I can give you the support and guidance to go from where you are now to where you want to be, developing your wealth mindset and creating your financial freedom life. Join at www.facebook.com/groups The Financial Freedom Podcast. You will see the links to this on the website. It's in the show notes, or type it into the Facebook group. All you have to type in is Financial Freedom Podcast and you will see us there. Look forward to seeing you in the group. Take care. Thank you for joining us on the Financial Freedom Podcast to creating wealth, investing, and developing your money mindset. To get started today on your journey, head on over to www.lornapoole.com and grab your free course, 5 Steps to Breaking Free from Your Poverty Mindset and Accelerating Your Journey to Financial Freedom. See you there.